All right, and we are live. How's it going, everybody? So if you're joining us today for the first time, we are working on a project management app. And this is part of like the Dogfooding series that I've been doing, where I just kind of try and build designs of apps with Compose and just kind of see what sort of friction I run into, and just kind of, you know, see Compose through the point of view of a user. So we started working on this yesterday, and this is, let me pull up the design. So this is the design that we're going off of. Let's see. So we decided to build the left page here first, which kind of has this cool timeline thing going on. And we're just kind of doing it with fake data and just kind of focusing on the design aspects of everything. And so, you know, we didn't get terribly far, but this is kind of what we have so far. You can see we basically have like the start of that mock with, you know, title, date and stuff like that. And then we spent a bit of time building this like avatar list thing. So we have this avatar list composable, which is doing some small layout tricks to get it so that they lay out on top of each other in this sort of manner. Whose idea was Jetpack Compose? Because it's better than XML. I'm glad you think it's better. I don't know if you can really say that it was like one person's idea. It was, you know, there's a big team working on Compose, and it's definitely changed shape dramatically since the inception of the project. You know, as a result of the input from quite a few people. So, all right. So, I think we'll just kind of continue where we left off, and start building this page up. Unless anyone has any other things that they want to talk about, just feel free to say so in chat. All right, I think I'm gonna like try and just get some of the rough structure of the page set up. So, hi Vivek. Vivek says, "What are you creating?" Joined after a long time. So we're building this design here of this project management app. I'll put a link in the chat to it. Hey Tutor. Hey Asama. Yeah, I'm glad you can join this one. So today we're working on this project management app. We didn't get super far on the first day. You can see, you know, basically we spent a bit of time getting some sample data kind of built up, and this avatar list composable was kind of fun to build and have the proper layout that we wanted, with these avatars kind of stacking on top of each other and things like that. So this is our top level timeline screen. And this is all on a white surface. And so what I'm gonna do, I think actually we want kind of like a column and a column here. And we'll say this here is like that white section. That's like the top of the screen. And I'm gonna give that a padding. say horizontal, we'll go for like 20 dp, and vertical, we'll say 16 dp. You know, I really, I don't like just guessing numbers here like this. One of these days, maybe I should try and get like a designer to send me like a real spec, so that we can kind of do this under more accurate live conditions, which is when we would have an actual spec. But you know, just copying the design isn't the worst thing, and we can just guess on a few numbers, I suppose. Okay, so the next thing on this screen is going to be like this timeline, which I'm just gonna put in a column to start off, but we might be changing that later. But for now, let's just get sort of the shape of it worked out. This has like a rounded top left corner, but no other corner appears to be rounded here. So that's kind of interesting. And then I'll just go ahead and grab the background color here. Then we'll go back over to Android Studio. And here we will say we've got a background with this color. And it's going to have a shape, which will be a rounded rectangle shape, or rounded corner shape. Okay, which this has an overload where I can say top left. And that expects a corner size, which I'm not sure what that is. Okay, corner size. I can't really tell exactly what that is, but let's just, you know, say it's 40 dp. And what is that upset about? Top left. Top left. Oh, okay. So we don't want a corner size. It just accepts a dp value. That's weird. I don't know why the autocomplete felt like the autocomplete kind of pushed me in that direction. Oh well. So that'll be our background. And what else did we want? So we probably want a top padding to be the same as this 40 dp rounded radius, which looks like kind of what it's doing there. And then we might also have a horizontal padding, which I'll match to be this 20 dp from above. You know, maybe we should put that in a some sort of a shared constant or something. I don't know, we'll see. Okay, and then here I'm just gonna put like a, you know, hello world here. We'll fill out kind of the rest of that in a second. And let's see, what comments do we have here? Vivek says, I will start learning Compose very soon. Do you think it's easy to start with and build good UI? Yeah, I think you can build some pretty great things with Compose right now. I think that there are still some missing pieces, and you know, so some of those missing pieces might be critical to you. Like if you're like a large company or something, and you rely, you know, you're relying on your bottom line revenue for like your app, you might want to be careful using Compose at the stage it's in right now, just because you might run into some feature that's not fully baked yet, and then actually using Compose ends up being a big risk in that way. But if your goal is to kind of learn or invest in your skills as an Android developer, like for down the road, or just sort of exploratory, then I think now's a really good time to use Compose. HMI Hi says, is there any back and forth between children and parent when measuring and laying out like on the old views, or is it just unidirectional call from root to leaves? So all like layout in Compose is written to strictly be single pass. So there's no sort of gotchas there, but there are ways that you can, like, so for instance, the with constraints API, like what it allows you to do, like it passes in some constraints, or actually it's part of a scope. So I can say, I can get like the max width and the min width here. So I can say if, max width greater than 20, then is this an int or DP? What is it? DP. Okay. So I can say, if the max width available is greater than 20 DP, then, render this. Otherwise, do this. And the way this component works is it'll essentially lay everything out up until this point of the tree, and then so basically you compose the whole tree, but then none of this composes, and so then this composition here actually happens during the layout pass, and then this will cause a composition and then subsequent layout. And so it's still sort of single pass, but this can be a little bit of a gotcha because you're every time some part of the layout gets invalidated, then like potentially you might have to recompose this whole route and stuff like that. And so that can be potentially expensive, which is a bit of a gotcha. And then you can also have some things like, something we see happen a lot, which we want to really try and avoid, is like you've got some UI here and you use something like on positioned, and inside on position you say, you set some value equal to the size dot width or something, right? And so then if you end up using this, so if you say if some state dot value dot width greater than 20, then do something here. If you end up using this state in the composition that will actually cause rows layout to change, then this can create this like kind of infinite back and forth like recomposition loop. And this will also get, this on positioned lambda will get called a lot more than you probably expect. And so this is kind of a bad pattern. You don't want to do that. And we now have like so there's on size changed, which this is a sort of better way to do that, but it's still not great if this is just kind of going to, if this has the possibility to end up changing the size, then you kind of have this feedback loop that you don't want. So those are some things to think about that's a little bit related to like the back and forth kind of layout thing that you're asking about. Durgreeny says, hey there, unfortunately I ran into a caused by no class def found error. Kotlin compile, integrate Jetpack Compose in the existing app. My app's compiling without any errors before. Follow getting started guide. So it sounds like the error you're running into is a result of you using the wrong Kotlin compiler version. So right now, Jetpack Compose is only compatible with Kotlin 1.4. And if you were using a different Kotlin version that our compiler wasn't built against, then you might get this like no class def found error. So that's what it sounds like to me. So Walia Himanshu says, hi, when do you think the beta version will be released? I don't know. I can't really comment on that, but you know, hopefully soon. Okay. So I guess I never showed you this. So this is what we got from the code that we wrote, which, you know, we should probably fill the max width here. So let's go ahead and do that. And I'll say that. Degraney says, so it might be caused by the following warning. I see during build the embedded Kotlin and Kotlin DSL plugins rely on the feature of Kotlin 1.3.7.2. Yeah. So I think the embedded Kotlin is probably the Kotlin that the IDE uses, which doesn't necessarily need to be the same version as the one you compile with. The main thing is that whatever you're compiling with Gradle, that Kotlin compiler version needs to be the one that the Compose compiler plugin expects, and that's probably 1.4.0. So, yeah. Although maybe 1.4.10. I don't know. Yeah, one of those. Okay, so we'll fill the max width in here. Sergey, hey Sergey, by the way. Sergey says, just wondering how to properly address a composable function that represents the UI element. For instance, Android SDK as view, Flutter a widget, Compose a blank. So I typically say just composable, you know, which is maybe short for just a composable function. Sometimes I slip and say component, which is like the, you know, just sort of my brain thinks in terms of components just based on my prior experience with like React and things like that. But yeah, composable is typically what I say to refer to one of these things. Okay, so that looks all right. We want to let's add a modifier here. And we'll pass it in there. So I think I want to add a top padding here. Maybe a bottom padding as well, I'm not sure. Although actually, I think this is, I'm kind of gonna wrap this in a row. So maybe I won't pass the padding in here. And then here what I'll do is I'll say top equals 16.dp. And so we've got this avatar list here, which is on the left side, and then we should probably render this like it's like plus button. And maybe that should be an option for the avatar list to like have an add button on it. And then we want to deal with this like progress indicator sort of thing here. Hey, Sky Color. Sky Color says, out of context, others may think we're all composing music. Yeah, totally. Okay. Let's go ahead and add like this button and then this progress indicator. So let's have an add button or show add button is true and an on click. So we'll show add button Boolean and we'll default to not having one. And we will create an on click lambda, which can default to empty. So then here we would say if show add button you know, actually I suppose we can put this elsewhere because we've got this like layout offset thing here. I mean, it's debatable. Like, let's just say, let's say we have got an avatar plus button, which I'll give a modifier and an on click. Maybe we'll put that here. And so if I do that, then let's see what we got here. We want to use an on click for button. Okay. You know, one thing we might want to do. Hey, Nicholas. Yeah, thanks for saying hi. Go to bed. Yeah, okay. That was all the chats. All right, so you know, we might want to think about this for a second. Like the avatars are probably all going to be clickable, which we haven't really dealt with yet. So they might like all sort of be buttons. So I might want to actually define these with a surface. Like so button defines a surface and it's got like a ripple and all that, which is kind of nice. I think we want to keep that. So what happens in here? Okay. Kind of want to see what this says about button here. So use a contain button. Okay, not quite what I was looking for. I wanted to okay, this is contain button, which allows for a leading icon, but not that. So there might be a specific like icon button that we want. Icons optional. It's a contained button. They contain actions that are primary to your app. Okay. And so, like, I hesitate to use a floating action button here, but because it's supposed to be like the primary action of the screen. I don't want to do that. Let me see what the implementation of a floating action button is. Floating action button. Is icon button a thing? Okay, yeah, that is probably what I'm looking for. Okay. Yeah, I think that makes sense. Let's see what happens if we use icon button. Let's do that for now. But that one, okay, well, it is weird because, you know, the fact that icon button lets me compose whatever I want inside of it is kind of nice, but I wonder if preferred size. I wonder if, like, you know, this is a non-canonical usage because it's actually like an image. Oh, sorry. And so Skycolor asks, can't you just add a modifier.clickable on the avatar? Yeah, I mean, so I definitely can. I'm not sure that I want to do that. Like, it might be, if there's, you know, if there's like a proper abstraction that's built for this, that I might prefer that versus doing clickable myself. But you know, using clickable is also fine. Just not sure it's what I want to do yet. Wanted to see what else was out there. So this gives me a preferred size, but not much other than that. So basically we could do this basically, and so draw shadow won't be, 40. So this is 40 dp and refs this, but I think I'll need to put the size. Well, yeah. Sorry, okay, a few questions, sorry. Vikas says, hi Leland, just wondering if we have some navigation system in Compose, like intent, which we can use to start another activity. Well, so, I mean, you can grab the current activity with an ambient, and then you can, you know, start an intent from there, just like you would normally. The sort of deeper answer to your question is there are a couple of ways you can go about navigation right now, but the navigation team, the team that worked on the navigation architecture component, is currently working on a Compose extension to the navigation architecture component, which I think will work pretty well. And you can do something like that today. Like, you know, there's all of the fundamental building blocks are in the navigation architecture component for you to build like a sort of navigation system on top of it that would like be easy to use with Compose. But the team is working on doing that themselves, and then that'll likely become sort of more of a standard API once that's released. And you can look at, it's open source, so you can kind of check out the code that they're working on right now. So then Realist Bird asks, do you have any experience in Django? I don't actually. I think at one point there was some project I was working on like years ago that used Django a little bit, but I don't even remember much about that at the time. So yeah, I don't really have any Django experience. Philigon Cal says, how do you stay calm while programming? I always feel a rush to complete the task, and sometimes that is bad for me because I don't take the chance to try and learn different methodologies. Yeah, it's a good question. I don't know. I mean, I think that, like, you know, programming, you kind of just have to take it slow, I guess. I'm not sure the right answer here. You know, I try to understand the things that I don't, and you know, just take things one at a time. Not sure that's a great answer, but I know what you mean about, like, you know, like you feel this like kind of rush to complete something. I think a lot of times that feeling, or like that, like if you feel an urgency to get something done quickly, it, you know, it almost invariably, in my experience, like leads to mistakes that if you had just kind of slowed down and taken your time to complete something, you probably would have completed the thing faster in that case anyway, because like there's always something that you miss if you like cut corners. It almost seems like cruel how that's true, but like every time I've tried to be like, oh, like this will probably just work, let me just, you know, ship it and see what happens. It's like there's it never just works on the first try. And so just, you know, taking things one at a time. I guess that's that's the only advice I really have here, but good question. So Skycolor asks says a floating action button has a shadow and you can pass an icon as children. Yeah, so we're like floating action button and icon button seem pretty similar. It seems like floating action button has a surface, whereas box doesn't. So icon button's like just a little more flexible, and floating action button has a specific thing. One of the things I'm concerned about is that floating action button is like the semantics of it are that it's sort of like a primary action, and this doesn't really feel like a primary action here. So like there are 6 of them that are going to be lined up here in all these avatars, and so the semantics of it might be they might not be what we want, and they might end up creating like a worse experience for like say screen readers and stuff like that. So trying to avoid using floating action button. I think icon button might be a better approach here. So let's see what happens there, and then we can actually, this will be nice. So so maybe we've got an like an avatar with just content here, composable unit, and then this is really just a oh, okay, so let me say icon equals content, and this will also have an on click. I guess we'll put that first. And we'll just, well, someone's gonna tell me the put on the same line, separate lines. Okay, cool. So then this can kind of be our base component here, which just has, you know, arbitrary like this is pretty close to just what icon button is. It's just sort of like a configured icon button, and we'll use that for the avatar that takes in a user. And you know, I mean, maybe like in terms of separation, like maybe this ends up being like a private composable somewhere, something like that. But anyway, we can have this overload that takes a user, and we'll do this. We'll say avatar modifier. And I'm gonna probably set up these on clicks at some point, but so this will render the user's image, and actually what I want to do is I want to say fill max size here, I guess, instead of giving that a size, and then this will have an explicit size. And so now this size here is, you know, it's kind of like the one source of truth for the size of an avatar. And then we can have the avatar plus button, sure. And then this will do avatar on click, says that, pass in a modifier. And then here we'll actually render an icon. Now I want to go ahead and add the like, oh my gosh, I'm sorry. Why isn't the sound playing? Are you sure? All right. Well, sorry about that, everyone. I'm trying to get this here. I had the sound turned off from the last time that it was double playing. Anyway, I felt like there were like 5 or 6 episodes where I was doing really good. I was doing really good of like not like showing the wrong screen, and now the past 2 days I feel like I've just done it terribly, like 7 times. So sorry about that. Need to get better. I turned the sound up on that sound alerts extension, so I think maybe now if you played it I'll hear it, but sorry about that. Okay. Yeah, I heard it that time, so. Oh, sad. All right. Can I do a... Forget how I add a material icon here, so. Material icon. So this is what I want. I want the icons dot. Filled, outline, sharp, or two-tone. I think filled probably, and then yeah. Android Studio is like supposed to have some, okay, here we go. Here they all are. So let's try add. Let's just see what that ends up showing. So now instead of having this conditional inside this avatar list, I'm gonna just write it here. Well, yeah, I mean, it is questionable because like it means that I need to duplicate this logic, which maybe I don't want to do that. All right, well, maybe I'll go back to putting this in here. So I don't really like the shape of that, but I also don't like duplicating this like layout offset kind of trick we're doing here. So putting it in the list may be the right thing to do. So then here I'll say if show add button, avatar add button on add click. And this will receive something like this. I suppose this could be actually part of the avatar API. Maybe that's what we do. So maybe this just has a stack, just a stack boolean, and then we can put that here. So here we'll say if not stack, then 0.dp. Maybe we'll give that a default value of false. Otherwise, move it over by 10 pixels. And so what this allows us to do is it kind of keeps the layout like this behavior here, which is a little bit unique, this stacking behavior, and it keeps it in one place. And so then here we just say stack, and that will be if index is not 0. Yeah, Delilah. And then the stack here will be if the list users dot is not empty. Hey, Afstyle. Okay, so then we want all of these like avatar APIs to have this like stack parameter. Stack boolean is false. And we'll add one here. And that gets passed in. And then we still haven't added our on-click API there. So this will be on-click. And on-click will go here. Okay, so click, and we'll have to fill that out with something at some point. This will be on add click. And so now we get rid of this again. But I think I kind of like where that API ended up. I think that's better. Oh no, I don't remove this. All right, sure. And then we probably want to, let's say this will have like an on user click, and it'll get user passed into it. And here we will say on user click user. All right, let's see what that looks like. It shouldn't look much different than last time, but we've got some stuff set up. No value passed for printer. Oh, on user click, right? So yeah, these are both sort of like to-dos here, but that's fine. Okay, that's like a decent looking add button. The image is not showing up correctly. Not sure why. So it's clipping to circle shape. So that's weird. I'm not sure. So this is what it looks like. Sorry, but the avatar images aren't showing up. Oh, this is interesting that I forgot to put size here. Size. So I wonder if coil image like doesn't do well with fill max size. I mean I assume it does. It kind of has to. Maybe are we doing something wrong here? Oh no, okay. They showed up now. I think this Pravatar service that I'm using is just, maybe it's really slow. I don't know. It seems to be really dragging its feet. Well, it looks like the avatars are showing up, so I'll just leave it, I guess. But it's kind of annoying if it takes like 10 seconds for them to show up. Chillcode says maybe download the images to your PC instead. Yeah, I mean, I definitely could. I just like, I think it's nice for prototyping to just, you know, download them, like, or just request them over HTTP, because like, you know, I might write code that generates, you know, 100 sample users and stuff, and it's just kind of nice to not have to download 100 images manually and refer to them all individually. So I don't know. I feel like I'm probably gonna keep it as like an HTTP thing, but Delilah says, I've been getting a leak canary report about leaking a compose view and navigating between fragments. Do I have to do something when a fragment is destroyed to avoid the leak? Yeah, probably. If you're like setting up some stuff manually, so calling set content should return you a composition object, and that composition object should have a dispose. And you should make sure that compose, or you should make sure that dispose is called. Now, there are a lot of, like, I think things are set up so that it should get called automatically for you in various situations, based on the lifecycle owner, I believe. But at the very least, you could like set a breakpoint in that method and just like make sure that that's getting called. And if it's not getting called, then that's the problem. Lizer asks, what's the difference between margin and offset? What's the difference between margin and offset? Well, so offset in like the compose nomenclature is determining where a well, actually not really doing that, is it? I mean, you could maybe view offset as like a top and left margin in a sense. The difference though is like I think offset doesn't change what size it reports above you. It just changes where you're placed in a given layout, which means that like that's like where you're drawn and where tap events go and stuff like that. I think that technically is a difference here. Okay, so what's next? We're gonna build this circular progress indicator thing, which should be kind of neat. So let's do that. We've got, so here's our avatar list, and in that same row on the right hand side, we're going to create a progress indicator. Let's call it project progress indicator. Whoops. So did I have some data for this? Mock project tasks. I'm gonna add a field here for progress. Let's say let's just make it a float. Make things easy. Progress, and we'll put it at 0.85f. All right, and then we will pass that into progress. Float. So now let's do this. And actually, I mean, so now it looks like this mockup, it kind of assigns this orange color to the in progress status, and this like purple color to done, or at least that's how I'm inferring this. So maybe we'll use that in this API. So like we'll have a status here, which will be a status object, and you know, maybe there's a color for each one of these. Let's say color. So in progress, let's say you get a, let's find the color here. Progress, color. So we've got that color, and then we'll get the color of done. And then I'm not sure I have in this mockup, I don't know if there's an example of what the other colors would be. So I might just mix them up. But let's see, so new. Maybe we'll have new be this like green that's used in this design. Color. And then in review, I don't know. So I'll just make it color.red. Or actually, let's see, what do we have left? We've got, you know, purple and orange were used. Let's see. Yeah, that's fine. Whatever. Color.red. So that'll give us that color, which is kind of nice. And so just so people kind of understand, what we're building here is this like 85% progress indicator thing here. So the first thing we want to do, let's get the text that we want to render. Let's see. Text equals progress times 100 rounded, round to int, and then there's probably like a better way to do that. I'm not really sure, but seems good enough to me. And we'll pass that into text. And I want to let's just have a box here. And so let's get a color. The color here is going to be the status.color. Text color, this color. And so to draw this circle, let's see. I think what we want to do is we'll just create a draw. Oh, it's interesting. I don't have the draw with cache API. Maybe I should update. I don't want to do that right now on stream. So there's a draw with cache API that's like probably a good thing to use here, but let's just make our own. So let's say circular progress. Try that. And that will be this then, and actually, I don't think we need that. We can just say draw behind, I guess is what I want. So draw behind will give me a draw scope, and then here I can kind of draw whatever I want with the canvas. And so I can draw an arc, the sweep angle. That seems promising. First, let's draw a circle with the like the lighter color. What color is that? Okay. So that's the light orange, and then the proper orange is what? This one. So, I mean, this is probably just a... I mean, I probably just want the one color and then I'll kind of mute it by maybe just changing like the luminance or something. Let's play around with it. So what these have here. So this gives me a color. Let's say we've got two colors here. Color primary color and that's probably enough. And then we'll say we've got light color equals primary color I kind of want some nice color utilities. We don't really have, like, we can get like the luminance, for instance, of this, but it'd be nice to have like a nice little conversion method. Maybe I'll make one. Color dot this is probably the wrong name, but well, anyway, I won't distract myself right now. Let's make a lighter color. I can take in actually the best thing is probably just to give it a different alpha. Yeah, okay, that's probably the right thing. So let's see if this API will let me do that easily. Can I show the app like that? Is that what you're looking for? This is what we've got so far. Or were you talking about the mock-up thing? Let me know. So is there why don't my so circular progress indicator, draw indeterminate, draw circular indicator. Okay, this is basically what we want. Look at that. Sweep start angle. So I'm looking at this just that Mohammed just sent over to me. Thank you, Mohammed. Yeah, so I think I'll probably use something like that, but I'm not sure. Like, so you did this sweep thing, okay. Start angle and sweep. Oh, sorry, you're not. You guys aren't seeing what I'm seeing. This is what I was looking at. Sorry about that. Yeah, I mean, so basically this is kind of what I want. I don't really want to do this, I don't think. Although yeah, maybe we should build a stroke object and store it, but even then, yeah, okay. Sweep, start angle. So what is it that you're doing here? So that you're doing the remainder of the angle. Yeah, okay, that's nice. I'm just I'll copy this. I think this is loosely speaking what I want. So draw circular indicator. Start there, and then let's see. So this is going to take a start angle. Okay. So what did the design have? The start angle is basically, well, I'm not sure what they, you know, if that's, you know, 90 or 0 or whatever, but let's just say it's 0. But the design starts from the top. Sorry, where was I? Oh, here. Okay. So start angle, let's say, is just 0 for now. Sweep is, let's say this is progress times 360, basically. And then the color will be the primary color. And stroke. So this is where we maybe should make our own stroke here. Private val stroke equals. Let's just start off with like a kind of heavy width. We'll use 8 to start off. And what did we all want to set? We just want to set the width and the cap, I guess. So that's what the circular progress indicator does. So stroke cap dot butt. Which that's the default anyway. Return the paints cap. Controlling how to start. The default is, begin and end contours with a flat edge and no extension. Makes sense. But given that's the default, well, whatever, we'll keep it. Okay, so let's use that, and let's Is there anything else? No. Okay. Then what do you do for this? Okay, so you copied and you used an alpha of 0.3. That seems pretty reasonable. So now we want to do circular progress, and color. And then we'll also give it a size. Let's say, we'll just start there, see what that does. And then we wanted to add percent to the end of the text here. Let's see how this shows up, but it's not gonna, you know, the text is gonna be not a great size, but we'll play around with that. Start angle is 270. Thanks. So it didn't seem to do anything. Did I not put this here? Oh, okay. Progress going to be project.progress, project.status. Seems reasonable. Okay. So, I mean, overall that looks pretty good, but we obviously need to tweak the text a bit and position it properly. So let's give this a modifier. And center. Is that gonna let me do that? Nope. What is box right now? Oh, because box doesn't have this scope. Oh, but it's got gravity. So I think, let's see, gravity, content, center. I think that'll do what we want. And then this here. Modifier, alignment, that end. What? Don't I want that? Oh. What we're saying is it. Hi, Lila. Asmi. Sorry if I pronounced your name wrong. Thanks for coming in. Range. So horizontal arrangement. Space between. So that's what we want. And then this we can get rid of. Progress. Status. ISO username is required. You're welcome for the stream. Lila, it's not Python, it's Kotlin. So let's see what that does. And then we'll want to tweak the font at least. Font weight, bold, then a shot. Oh, and then so we'll want this to fill max width. Okay, so I mean that looks pretty reasonable. It's more or less what we wanted. You know, it's funny, the mock-up, it says 85%, but based on the progress indicator, it really seems like it's 75. But I think that's just a error in the design. I think ours is rendering appropriately. So so that's, I mean, we've gotten, you know, just a real rough like top portion of the page. So it might be like a good time to start to think more about this timeline thing. Which let's talk about that for a second, because I was trying to think of the right way to do this timeline. And you know, it's a little bit weird because you know, if you wanted to think of this timeline as just a list of items and you rendered each item, then like what you would need to do is you would need to have like the first item here, it would need to like draw, you know, like a dotted line up all the way to the end of like the padding that whatever this padding is on this item, like so all the way up to the top of it. And then, you know, halfway through it draws this circle and then this like white stroke going down. But what I think is weird is that the line with this white stroke and everything, that's more of a, that's like an element that is sort of related to both the item before it or like it's related to both of these items. And so like I don't really want the logic for rendering one item to involve you know, the previous and next item in the list or something like that. So, you know, one thought I had was to actually build like a custom layout, which would, you know, maybe accept each one of these items, and then it would also accept a, you know, maybe as part of a separate maybe it was like part of a separate parameter or something, it would accept some number of like lines which were configured to be positioned relative to like the center points of these other items in the list. And so then you could use the placement of those lines would happen at layout time, but you wouldn't need to, you know, specify any of that during composition. But the problem with that is that it wouldn't work if we wanted to use, for instance, like lazy column or something like that. Which it would be cool if we came up with a solution that did. So I'm not sure what the right thing to do here is. I kind of want to still go down that path because I think it's an interesting one, and like I'm not exactly sure what all that code would look like. Yeah, so Mohammed says, I think the white line is between all the items in the same day, so could we pass is first and is end? Yeah, I mean, you could. It's just, I think it's a little bit sad to have to do that. I was trying to think if there was like an elegant way, like if you wanted to think real generally, like if you have these timeline-based UIs where you've got items and you're like, you've got some sort of arbitrary lines that are drawn between two items that might be at arbitrary positions on that timeline, then that's kind of a, I don't know, it's kind of like it would be a neat layout to write. But you might be right in that this particular design doesn't call for something so complicated. But I mean, the design is kind of weird because for some reason, you know, this bottom one doesn't really have that line connecting. But I don't know. Maybe we'll do that simple approach. You can sheet, row, line, card, no spacing in between. Sort of decorators. Yeah, sorry, I'm not exactly sure what you're suggesting. But anyway, let's try and work this out here. So we've got the list of tasks. And okay, so this is where our tasks go. So we're gonna hit the point where we need to scroll now. So I'm just gonna change this to be a scrollable column. And what I'm gonna do here is item in project, or sorry, it's a task, I guess. We'll just call it a task. Tasks, and task. Let's start there. And I need to, I guess I need to create a header. Okay. I'm gonna create a new file for this. I kind of want to start fresh here. Timeline cards. Sure. And let's just go ahead and make like a timeline header thing. This will need to have a different API in the long run, because it looks like it has like a little switcher kind of thing, like a drop-down filter menu or something. Showing days, yeah, something like that. But we can work that out later. So let's do this. So each like thing in this list, I'm gonna say has like absolutely 0 padding around it, which actually we need to now verify here. So that's wrong. Yeah. Well, actually, I guess we could keep the horizontal padding. I guess that's fine. All right, we'll keep that padding. So it's got some horizontal padding, but no vertical padding. And let's see. Let's draw some of these things. This will be data. Tasks. And show in days. Which I'll make this kind of something more proper later on. And let's create like a specific position for the line to be on or something. So line position, let's just call it 60 dp. And so, all right, let's make a composable. Where this will, what I'm thinking is that this composable will occupy the space that is like to the left of the card, basically. So it'll basically have some space, a line, and then some padding. So for lack of a better name, I'm going to call that timeline line. And so that's gonna take some content, which will be to the left of it. And so we're gonna let's see, we'll put some of the content here, and then this is where the line will go, and this will have a fixed width. So all right, well, I see. So this will have a width of line position. And then it's going to have a padding to the right. Timeline line. So the padding to the right, we'll say, is 16 dp. And I think what I want this to do is fill max height. Yeah. Uranium asks, what's the difference between width and preferred width? That's a good question. My understanding of it is that, like, preferred width you can kind of think of as like a default width. So it's a width that can be defined where a width specified later in the modifier chain will get used as a preferred width, or like it will overwrite the preferred width, whereas a normal width will not. And so what that allows you to do is, like, kind of define some sort of default widths for certain composables, but then allow the consumer of the composable to easily do something like you know, add a width to it, or do like fill max width or something like that. That's my current understanding, but that might not be exactly right. Okay. Sorry, the padding is going to be on the end. And then what I want to do is I want to have like a draw line thing here, which I'm going to fun modifier dot draw line equals this dot draw I'm just going to use draw behind. This will take some parameters later on probably, but so draw behind. Let's see. So draw line. I'm just gonna do, let's just draw like just a solid line right now, and we'll play around with it later. So the start and end will be let's see, size dot top right. Is there like a top right? Wonder. I suppose there could be on DrawScope, right? That's kind of interesting. Like, what if I did DrawScope that top right, and it was an offset. This could be size dot top right offset dot 0. I think, I don't know. Let's see if that works. So that's the start offset, and I guess I would do bottom right. I mean, you know, I don't need to define these little vals here, but what I'm curious about is if having little helpers like these like feels correct or not, and whether or not we should actually define some of them ourselves. Or like whether or not those should be APIs that we provide. So let's say stroke width, I'll just say 4 or something. So username is required, asks somehow Android Studio does not show the source files for Compose. Do you have any suggestions to fix this? Yeah, this is a known bug with Android Studio Canary 13, and it should be fixed in the next Canary. It's unfortunate. I think that you can download the sources of Compose directly and like just tell Studio to go find them there. But yeah, it's not a Compose specific issue. All of the Gmaven packages are kind of broken for source mapping right now, which is unfortunate. Stroke width, okay. So this might be enough. You know, basically this is drawing a line on the right side of this container thing. And we'll make it so that we can kind of customize what the line looks like later on, but I'm not sure exactly what we want it to, how we want to customize it yet. I'm going to call this like line container or something, because I just don't think I can say timeline line with a straight face too many times. So I'm going to have, let's see, this is a row. So we'll say that the default alignment is center vertically, and the arrangement is centered. Actually, I don't know if we want to center it versus right align it. I think that might be what we want. Okay, so this can just be content here. Oh, but that's going to be a row scope, so I'll just continue to do that. So now here, what we can do is we can put data in a line container, and these will just be after, which we'll need to play around with, but container. And then here, let's say we'll put the time code in here. And now here we'll create this like card thing, which I might create a specific composable for that in a bit, but so this is like that white box that we have here, and let's see, I think. Let's just kind of get things rendered here. We'll have a row with the task status. I wonder if we should have a, let's see. Maybe for this status class, this enum, we should create a just a string for it. Name. And it's kind of annoying, but because this is only really needed for in progress, since it would require a space, but you know, whatever. Review. Done. Okay. Type name. And then we kind of want to give this a color of the status color. So that's the left-hand side, then the right-hand side is going to be the task tag. And that's pretty much it for that. And then we'll give it another row, which will have the task title. And then one final row on the bottom, which will have two icon buttons, we'll say. This will be, let's see, this is an attachment, or no, this is a chat bubble. Say icons default. So like a chat bubble outline. It'd be really nice if it gave me like a little preview here. Chat bubble outline, sure. So each icon button, I guess, is going to have the icon and then the number. So this would be task.comment count. This would be attachment count, and let's see, is there attachment? Okay, it's probably good. Need to stringify these things. All right, so those are the two icon buttons. We'll need to add some padding in them. And then we've got this like fancy looking number like right here, and then an avatar list. So number 163, which is the ID, I think, of the task. So I'm not sure. I'll have to look into what to do for like the fancy looking number, if there's like an easy way to do that. There might be with like, you know, maybe like a superscript style, or maybe there's a specific character that is that. I'm not really sure. We'll figure it out. So this was the ID, I guess, like 163 and all that. So we'll render that. And then after the number 163, whatnot, we end up with another avatar list. And so here I can just pass the task assignees. And then we probably want avatar list to allow for like a size. So let's just say size is DP here. And so the size of the avatar will determine the actual like size of the avatar circle and all that. But it could also, it'll also maybe change the amount that the layout offset sort of is. So let's see. I think we want to pass in size for both this one and this one. And so this will have a size DP. And then that'll get passed in here. Okay, so here we've got our size, which we'll pass in here. So that was 44 DP before. And we'll be consistent maybe about all these things, but then what we'll say is we'll say this is let's say our overlap is going to be size divided by 4, something like that. And maybe we'll put a minus here. You know, which would have been about that 10 DP that we had before. It's a fourth of the image. You know, might be a little much. We'll see. Maybe we'll say 5. Size over 5. Okay. So now our one usage of that, we'll want to add back size equals 44 dp. And also, I guess what we'll want to do is we'll want to say size to index. Yeah, maybe. I guess that's fine. Yeah, okay. So, wait, there's a bug up here. It's yelling at me for something. Class new is never used. What is name hides? Oh, okay. This is sure, why not? Even readable. So now we need a size here, and so this size is going to be smaller than you know, the one we had before, which was 44 dp. So maybe now we'll do like 32, see what that ends up looking like. And this doesn't have an add button or anything like that. But we still need to define an on user click. And then on add click has a default. So I guess that's all right. Okay, and so then this whole thing, I'm gonna give some padding to, or this whole thing is white. This is our white container. So let's say we give it a background of white and a rounded corner shape with 6 dp of corner. That. And it will also get a padding, which looks pretty uniform. So I'm gonna say 16 dp all around. And then, so each of these cards is gonna have, so there's some padding like above and below the cards, which will be here. Padding, this will just be a vertical padding. And I'll call this, let's do like 8 dp here. Oh, HMI high, you've got the fancy number here. Nice. Thanks for that. Let's add that in there. See how that looks? Okay, so we've added this padding around the card and everything. And there's already some padding here to the right of the line. So let's see what this looks like. Okay. So, you know, not terrible. Will require some tweaking here. So we want the card to fill whatever width it has available to it. So After the background and padding, we will say fill max width. And let's see. Why not use card? I could, you know, I mean, it doesn't look like there's an elevation defined here. So I don't know. I'm like not sure how much I should stick to material concepts in a design like this that isn't super materially. This one is a little bit. There are some material elements, like the message button here looks kind of materially. And these inputs a little bit. So I don't know. This page just in particular seems to violate a handful of material guidelines. I could throw a card there. It doesn't really make much difference in this particular case. Fears LOL asks, how do you handle list items recycling with Compose? Well, so there's kind of multiple things here. So like one, like recycling isn't quite the same thing in Compose. Like you don't really recycle items in the same way, but you can do lists that only render the items that are visible on screen, or that are like needed. So you can have like a virtualized scrolling container, which what we call the API that we call that is lazy column. And there's a lazy column and a lazy row, and there are also some convenience APIs like lazy column 4 and stuff like that you can pass items into. We'll actually probably do that. I don't have it set up right now, but we'll maybe transform this scrollable column into a lazy column, and I might do that later on. I'll probably want to update Compose in this project before doing that, because there's a new API that I would want to take advantage of if I do that. But how's it going, Rick? So, okay. So we've got this like kind of thing happening here. Let's try to fix a few of the obvious things. So right now the tag and the status should kind of, you know, fill their width and expand to be on the start and the end. So to do that, I'm going to say fill max width here, and of the horizontal arrangement be space between. Instagram says Google is okay with you streaming on the competitor's platform. You mean like Twitch versus YouTube? Yeah, honestly, I never even thought about it until just now, but it's like I'm just like, I mean, it's like I use Twitter and other social media platforms or whatever. I mean, it's not like this is like an official channel. This is like my personal channel. I'm just streaming about Compose. So it doesn't seem like Google's place to mention that, but I mean, you know, if someone was concerned, then maybe they'd bring it up with me and I'd think about it. But so you're making a project management app. Yeah, I mean, just sort of the design, but like we're kind of following this mock-up, you know, that I just found on Dribble, and the idea is just to you know, kind of play around with the APIs and see what's easy, what's hard, and stuff like that. Okay, so we've got the in progress and design, those will get split. And then we kind of want to split these as well. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a spacer here and modifier dot fill max width. Actually, I think spacer will just work that way automatically. Maybe not. What does it do? As fixed width, max height 0. Okay. So I think I'll just give it weight. Yeah. So what that's going to do is that'll just push, you know, these things away from these things and kind of have it fill up space appropriately there. And then the other thing is this whole line container thing didn't really work out. I'm not sure what I can do differently. I think so actually maybe I wonder what happens if I make this a column instead. And I could, well, I don't want to change too many things at once. Let's see what that does. All right. So it's starting to look better, but the icon button is like they're oriented incorrectly. Isaac says, I just started playing around with Compose. One thing I can't seem to find is a way to arrange views relative to each other, like with a relative constraint layout. I'm not sure row and column would work for complex layouts. Yeah, so Isaac, there's a constraint layout DSL that you can use in Compose. That, you know, if you have some need to lay your stuff out that way, then you can do that. Okay. So we want the icon buttons to orient themselves as a row instead of a column here. Okay. Which, let's just say all of that. No problem. So DSL is an acronym for domain specific language, but it's like often what we refer to, like you could kind of say that all of Compose is a DSL, but basically what I'm saying is that there is a constraint layout composable that you can use that allows you to, in Kotlin code, define constraints between different elements and stuff. It's pretty slick. So if that's what you're looking for, you should check it out. Do I want to do draw line after you fill max height? I think that the height will be determined, like the size of this thing will be determined and then passed up to draw line. At least that's my current mental model. So I'm not sure that that would change it, but you could be right. Let's try it. See if you're right. If you are right, then I'm gonna want to think for a minute about why. Instagram asks, sorry to interrupt, what code editing tool are you using? So right now this is Android Studio, which is like a variant on IntelliJ that Google provides. Okay, so that doesn't help us here. Let me see, like, background color dot grid. Yeah. So I think what I want to do is I want to try adding a weight here and see if that changes anything. Ooh. Nope. That didn't do anything good. All right. So are you saying wrap the column in a box or wrap this content in a box? What are you saying? Content. I don't think that'll change anything. I mean, box is just it's really just a column. I think what I'll do is just create a custom, I'm just going to create a custom layout modifier. So yeah, okay, let's just create a custom layout modifier. So what I want to do is when we lay out, what size am I going to have? So all equals it measure scope measurable. I see measurable constraints. Placeable equals measurable dot place or measure constraints. So I think I might want to alter these constraints. Actually, I guess not. Oh. Interesting. So I guess I kind of understand what's happening. The problem is that once we've measured, we're doing this in the wrong order. So I think I know what I want to do. So I think what we want is we want let's just do this. So we've got, let's say we've got a timeline card here. What I want to do is say left content and content. Let's do that, and then actually no, because I want to reuse this for the header. So let's just say timeline row. Right, content. So what I'm gonna create this like composable that just kind of splits along these two lines, and I'm gonna create a custom layout. And okay, so the layout here is going to do two things. Yeah, okay, so basically the children of this layout, I'm essentially guaranteeing that this layout is gonna have exactly two children. So we'll say left content and right content. And I'm gonna give each one of these a tag. Layout ID. So right. Okay, so now I'm, measuring and placing both the left and the right content here. But I'm gonna do, so Mohammed asks, why is it not the correct height? So what I think is going on is that there's no way currently with like a single pass to essentially make the content of the left side, like, because basically what we want it to do is we want it to take the size of the right hand side, and I don't think that we can do that because they're in completely separate layouts, and at the time that this one is laying out, we don't actually know what the right size would be. I could be wrong about that, but I think that that's what's happening. And so I'm gonna try going down this path. I think, like, I don't think this will be that hard to write, and I think that it will basically work. So we'll say measurables, constraints. So now what I'm gonna do is say, left equals measurables left. Is that right? Let me see this. I'm not sure that this like layout ID is even necessary. I thought there was some way to address it in that way, but I don't even really want to. So basically here, I just want to do this, and I can even do that, which is kind of nice. And what is this yelling at me at? Okay. So when we're done, we need to report the width and height of what we get. So placed right equals right dot measure, and we will give it, let's see, what constraints do we want to give it? Constraints dot what does offset do? Returns the constraints obtained by offsetting the current instance with the given values. So the min width plus the horizontal. I don't think this is what I want. I kind of thought there'd be some nice little helper here, but text seems to ignore size modifiers. Oh. Well, so I wasn't using text though, because I was already wrapping the text with a column, and all the modifiers I was using was on column, I think. Okay, so let's check this out. So what we want to do is what? Density.constraints. Okay, well, that's not what I want. I just thought you'd give me. All right. Aren't we talking about something like this here? I guess they're ints. Okay. Gosh, I hate how this navigation isn't working. Where are these factory functions I'm looking for? So constraints are an inline class, right? Where are these? This is very frustrating. Okay, so this is what I want. Yeah, they're all ints. Why is it? Why is it using the wrong one? I guess because it's on this scope, but that seems silly. This isn't even the same number of arguments. All right. I think IntelliJ is confused. That's the one I want. Okay, it's concerning how strange that all that just was. Anyway, I want to measure the right-hand side with constraints. Basically, the minimum width is going to be constraints.minwidth minus, let's say, left width, because the left width is fixed, so let's just say 60.dp. So line position to int pixels. It's actually going to be, well, plus some padding or something, but that's fine. Let's just let's start off with this. So it's going to be the min width minus the left width, and then we'll coerce that at least 0. And then max width is, let's just say min width, and this is going to be basically the same thing. accept max width here. And min height, that'll be the same as we were passed in max height. Okay, let's see if I can get rid of this silly thing here. Nope, does not like that. I'm confused. I'm gonna write that down because that's just like weird. And measure scope needs to be fully qualified, or else it uses a deprecated constructor. All right, so that's kind of silly that we had to do that, but what this will do, this will give us, like this ends up measuring the right-hand side with those constraints. And then what we want to do is we want to use the height of the right-hand side to provide constraints for the left-hand side. Placed left equals left.measure. And then here we'll say, we can basically provide exact here. So constraints fixed. And so our width now is the left width, and the height is the placed right dot height. So that'll give us everything we need here. So now our width is placed left dot width plus placed right dot width. And our height is placed left dot height. Or really it's, let's just dot height. Let's just call it that. And place left dot place relative 0, 0. Placed right. We'll place that at left width 0. Interesting. I think this will basically work like we want it to, and then so I'm just gonna forget this whole like layout ID thing, but I think see, get rid of that. I'm gonna try to put this on the left-hand side. All right, and now the API for this is a bit different. Instead of putting this in a row, we'll put this in a line. Did I still call it a line? No, timeline row. All right, left content is equal to this, and right content is equal to that. And we'll do something similar here. Whoops. That'll become a timeline row. And we will say left content will be this. And actually, I mean, maybe to reduce some of the nesting a little bit. We'll just do something like that. And that all works out. So, okay, I think we'll be adding some more parameters to this here. All right, a little bit roundabout, but let's see what that looks like now. Okay, cool. So our timeline is now kind of correctly like rendering all the way down the screen. So that's nice. And let's see. I mean, I suppose we could do a couple of shortcuts here. So maybe maybe this should be a row, and whatever this is, let's just say this is also a row, and we'll give it alignment center vertically. And what else do we want to tweak here? Well, we should make this bigger because it's not quite enough room here. So I think maybe let's choose 80 dp. Let's go ahead and optimize those imports. See what that looks like. All right. So I mean that's like making some decent progress here. You know, we've got a timeline looking thing getting rendered. We'll start playing around with the like the actual drawing of the lines, and we'll add some configuration to this like timeline row thing, so that when we draw the line on it, we can draw some other things as well, like this, like the little dots and stuff like that. Sorry, Mohammed asks, could you tell us what happens when you give the feedback? Which feedback are you talking about? You're saying like whenever I run into, like if I run into something while doing the stream and want to provide some feedback from that, you're saying like if something materializes from it, you want me to mention it? Is that what you're saying? Robin, what artifact are you seeing? What do you, can you describe it? Me. Can someone let me know, like, what do you mean by an artifact? What does it look like? A stain under the first 24.19. Oh, interesting. I do kind of see that, actually. It looked like something on my screen. Yeah, I don't know what that is. I see it on my side too, so I wonder, there must be something in OBS that's like getting it confused. Yeah, weird. It does seem to be getting produced somewhere in OBS, because my version of the screen on my desktop looks fine, and the screen on the device looks fine. And it's not actually an emulator. This is a real device. So, but it is weird. I don't know what that is. But anyway, Mohammed, I will definitely do that. So, some of these things, like, it depends on the gravity of the suggestion. Like a lot of these things I'm just kind of casually bringing up to people and say, like, hey, ran into this, maybe you should think about changing it or whatnot. And then other things maybe I'm trying to turn into a more formal discussion, and I'll try to think about sort of updating you all when that happens. So yeah, good thought. But on that note, I think I'm going to end the stream now. I think we made some decent progress today. So, next stream, maybe we'll do some of the drawing of the timeline itself, and styling of that, and then maybe some more specific kind of UI polish to make it look a little cleaner. And then maybe we'll move on to a different screen if we end up getting that far, like maybe this one, or this one. I think I kind of want to do the form screen. I think the form screen will have a lot of interesting, I don't know, a lot of interesting API to go over. I think I'm a little bit curious to see how well we can do this type of a form, like, cleanly. But anyway, that is it for today. So today's our Monday stream. Next scheduled stream will be Wednesday, and we'll be doing some more compiler stuff. So we won't be working on this until Sunday probably. But as always, I appreciate everyone who came in and tuned in, and I will see you all on Wednesday. Cheers.